Hello Southwest students. My name is Leslie Collie and I am one of the librarians here at Southwest. In this video, I'm going to take you through one of our most sophisticated databases, Visible Body. Visible Body is a hands-on app that enables you to gain a deep understanding of human anatomy and physiology, or A&P, by examining 3D models of every system in the body. If you're in the nursing or allied health program, or are otherwise interested in human anatomy and physiology, this is going to become your favorite tool. I'm creating this video in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, which unfortunately means that no one has access to the brick-and-mortar library, myself included. Our physical A&P models get some of the highest use by students in the library, but fortunately, while we're all obligated to be at home, we have access to this incredible app that acts as a digital version of those physical models, with a couple of value-added tools that arguably makes it more useful than the physical models. Not to mention the fact that you don't have to have your student ID to access Visible Body. I'm going to be showing you some of these tools in this video, and how to use them to get the most out of a really powerful resource. The first step in accessing Visible Body is knowing how to get to it in the first place. You'll always need to access it from the library's website, southwest.tn.edu/library. Trying to get to the Visible Body from Google or anywhere other than the library's website isn't going to work. From here, we're going to scroll down to the gray box with the tabs on top of it. Next, we're going to select the very first tab on the left, Databases. Now, there are two ways you can get to Visible Body from here. You can either click on the A to Z resources page, scroll until you find the V section right here, and here it is right at the top. Also notice how at the end of the description it tells us that Visible Body is located in the Science subject category. That's going to be helpful for us to know as we hit the back button to return to the main databases page, because now we know that we need to scroll down these subject categories, which again are in alphabetical order, until we find Science. Click on the light gray box to expand it, and we can see that we have a lot of resources for our science programs. Just an FYI, there's also a separate medicine/health subject category for my nursing allied health folks. But we're here for Visible Body. Again, the databases are in alphabetical order, so we just scroll until we find Visible Body right at the bottom of the list. Now, we're going to scroll just a little and click the very first box here. Before we switch over to the app itself, I want to point out a few key things on this launch page. At the very top here, you have the ability to switch the app to a different language if you so choose. Scrolling down below the laptop, just a quick heads up, we unfortunately don't have access to the mobile app. I really think though that you're going to get more out of this tool viewing it on a larger screen like a laptop or PC, as opposed to a little smartphone screen. The bottom half of the launch screen has some really important information, like which browsers are compatible with the app, tutorial videos for specific functions. I'll be demonstrating most of them in this video, but these are another good option if you want to see a certain function in more detail. And troubleshooting guides for some common app issues. All right, let's take a look at what you're here to see, the app itself. After you click the laptop to launch Visible Body, it's going to open in a new window, so you might need to enable pop-ups in your browser menu. I went ahead and loaded up before I began this video, because sometimes it takes a few seconds to load. The app is basically arranged like a digital textbook. Its units are organized by body systems, with a total of 50 units, and there are sections within each unit. So far, pretty standard. Now let's take a look at these up here. The checklist tells you what you should ultimately learn from each section. This is more of an outline that you can use to structure your studying, but it's by no means required. Finally, you have the option to take quizzes if you really want to make sure that you have a firm grasp on a particular system. Notice how some quizzes are dissections, which means you'll actually get to manipulate the 3D model like you would with a real specimen. We're going to go back to the units. Now, you can browse the units in sections like you would any other medical text, but if you're looking for something specific, you have a search bar right up here that can take you where you need to go. That's certainly a lot quicker and easier than flipping to the back of the book to look at the index and having to go back and forth between the index and the text itself. I'm going to run a search for gallbladder to show you what searching is going to look like. See how as I type, results are already appearing? They might or might not be relevant to what you're actually looking for, but it doesn't hurt to keep an eye on what pops up as you type. All right. What we're seeing now is every section where the phrase gallbladder appears. Notice the icons on the upper right-hand corner of each rectangle. These tell you what kind of illustration is used in that section, such as microscope slides, a chart, or a 3D model, which is what we're going to look at in more detail. Let's go with this one. So, here's one of the 3D models. See how detailed that is? And I'm going to show you the various ways that you can manipulate one of these. Now, I'm using a computer mouse, and it has a spinning wheel in between the buttons that's typically used to scroll through a web page or document. In this app, though, if I roll the wheel up, it zooms into the model. If I roll it down, it zooms out. If you're using a mouse and if you're not using a mouse and you have the touchpad and two buttons in the middle of a laptop, which I also have, it's sort of like zooming in and out on a picture on a smartphone. You sort of pinch two fingers and move them outward to zoom in like so, and then you do the opposite to zoom out. It takes a lot more effort to use the touchpad, so I strongly suggest using a mouse for this app. I can move the model around any way I need to simply by holding down the left mouse button and moving the mouse around, like so. You might need to practice manipulating the model the first time you use Visible Body to get the hang of it, but I really think that it's pretty intuitive and straightforward overall. All right, let's spin this guy where I want him. There we go. I came to this section for the gallbladder, so I'm going to look over at the left-hand side of the screen and click gallbladder. As you can see, clicking gallbladder zooms us in, and they've highlighted the gallbladder in bright blue. Before, we could maybe see the top of it, but this gives us a much better, closer view. Let's take a look at some of the icons around our model and see what they do. If we click the right arrow next to the organ's name, it'll show us where it falls in the body system hierarchy. So digestive system, accessory organs, gallbladder. If we, let's see, the speaker icon gives you the correct pronunciation of whatever you're examining.
Gallbladder.
Most of us probably wouldn't need it for the gallbladder, but this could definitely come in handy when you start looking at and trying to pronounce names in, say, the cardiac system. Clicking the Open Book icon is going to tell you a lot more about what you're looking at, much like a textbook. Now, let's move down to the, whoops, tried to zoom in a little too much, or zoom out. Let's see if I can get that centered here. There we are, all right. So, let's see here. These icons down here are going to enable you to get an even clearer look at whatever you're studying. These are pretty self-explanatory, but basically, fade and hide are going to affect whatever you have highlighted in blue. Fade others and hide others affects everything else. Pretty obvious, right? Let me just show you what it would look like if you wanted to see only the gallbladder. If I click Fade Others, everything but the gallbladder becomes more transparent. I want to get an even better view, so I just want to isolate the gallbladder entirely. If I click Hide Others, everything but the gallbladder disappears, and now you can zoom in and examine it as closely as you need to. There we go. All right. Finally, let's swing over to the right side of the screen and look at these icons. I'm going to start with Tools, because these give you some really useful ways to study and take notes directly on the model. If I click Draw, I can say circle something that I need to pay close attention to for a quiz, say. You can also insert text by clicking on Note. I'm going to keep it simple and type something like study gallbladder for Tuesday's quiz. All right, and then I can move my note wherever I need it to go. Put that right there for now. You can also click and drag this orange half circle at the bottom of the note and have it point to something specific, and I can also move that over to the other side of the note, just wherever you need it. Keep in mind, Visible Body does not save any notes or annotations you make after you clear out of this screen. So if you want to keep your work for later, be sure to go over here and click Download Image. You'll be able to save your work like any other image you download to your computer or flash drive. I don't need to add any more notes, so I'm ready to click Done. And it'll take us back to our original model. You can either add new notes from here, or we can click back and return to the main options. Let's say that I'm ready to view the gallbladder with the other organs around it. So all I have to do is click Refresh. As you can see, the gallbladder is still highlighted in blue for easier viewing. Now let's say that I want to see the gallbladder with a couple of different organs, but I want to eliminate everything else. For that, I go over here and click Multi-Select. See how all the dots are red? That's how you know the icon's been activated. From here, I can choose which organ I'd like to see with the gallbladder. Let's go with the diaphragm. And then I can go back to our hide and fade tools and do whatever I need to do, like so. I'm done for now with all things gallbladder, so all I need to do is click the menu button, and then I'm going to clear my search bar, and it'll take me back to the main navigation page. So that is Visible Body in a nutshell. I hope you can see what an incredibly sophisticated and powerful tool this is, arguably even more so than using a physical anatomy model. I've just shown you the basics of this database, but I encourage you to pull it up on your own computer and play around with it. It's the best way to learn your way around. Now, I'm going to navigate us back to the library's website. Here we are, and then I'm going to click on Ask a Librarian, because I want to remind you that if you have questions that I didn't answer here, or if you ever run into any problems using Visible Body, or any of our other resources for that matter, a librarian is always happy to assist you. The fastest way to get in contact with us is via our instant messaging and texting service, RevChatter. But if for whatever reason we're offline, maybe you need help during the weekend, something like that, you can always shoot us a quick email. Thanks for watching, and go explore Visible Body for yourself.